Hi guys, welcome to Don't Trust What You See. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the rising number of people that are crossing the border, the $10,000 payoff for college loans, controversy revolving around DC Comics, and a high school coach getting charged with sexually abusing a student, and an OnlyFans model getting charged with killing her boyfriend. And finally, abortions. In this episode of Don't Trust What You See.
I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past.
Okay, so let's start off with the biggest news story of the week. Okay, so this is day number 7 of Joe Biden's rollout of the college loan payout. So what's going to end up happening is all of these people that went to college that actually paid off their loans like they were supposed to are now suffering the consequences of actually doing the right thing, which is very questionable. So if you paid off your college loan like a lot of my family members already did, or they're in the process of it right now, you're not actually going to get a rebate for paying off your college loan. But if you did it the wrong way, and you are paying, really not the wrong way, but if you're paying it off slowly, or you're not paying it off at all, which is the wrong way, but if you're paying it off slowly, that's the right way. But if you're paying it off not at all, this is really going to help you out, and that's not a good thing. So without further ado, let's dig into the article. So, beginning with the headline, right? White House refuses to explain who will pay for Biden's $50 billion student loan handout. Now, this is very, very bad, right? This is very, very bad. College is going to benefit you personally. Why would us, the taxpayer, pay for you to go to college? It's not right on any level. It's not right for any taxpayer to be paying for your college that's going to be ending up to making your... It's not fair for the taxpayer to be paying for your college, which is going to be making you more money in the long run, not us, the taxpayer. That's not right. So let's dig into the article to see what they have to say. So President Biden and White House officials remain silent about how their plan to pay off cancellation of between $10,000 to $20,000 in student debt for millions of Americans. Now, me personally, right? I never supported government issued loan payouts, right? I never, ever agreed with this at all. And that's because of the fact that I always agreed that the taxpayer should not be paying for somebody else's college. The people that already paid for college should not be paying for more people to go to college. If we truly had a problem with the amount that we're paying at college, why wouldn't we bring that up at the college level? Why wouldn't we tell these colleges, listen, you're charging too much when we go to college? How about we put a cap on the amount that these colleges will charge people to go to these institutions? Instead, what we're doing is we're incentivizing them to actually charge more because they know that we, the people, are not going to be paying for this at all. I mean, yes, we overall, but the individual is not going to be paying this $10,000 to $20,000 more for going to college. So what they're going to end up doing is they're going to charge people exactly what the government is going to be paying for their college. So let's just say that the government is going to be paying $10,000 off your student loan. The college will automatically charge $10,000 more, knowing that you're not paying for that college. You're not paying for that increase in the amount that they have to, now the government has to pay for you. It's not right at all. And this is not the way that they're supposed to do it, but of course they are going to do it because that leads them to be making more money. Now, just having one speaker go to a college is $400,000. They paid Elizabeth Warren $400,000 to go to a college. That's what they're doing with your money, and that's exactly why I'm not going to a college. Why would I pay my money so they can go and waste it on one speaker instead of getting me the education that I paid for? It's not right. So let's dig into the article a little bit more. So despite unveiling the policy last week, administration officials have yet to explain how Biden's student loan handout will be paid for in the long term. Economics say that once we can't just be piling on the debt, piling on the debt, piling on the debt, piling on the debt for years and years and years and years since America's founding, right? We can't do that because that's not possible. We can't sit here and not pay off our debt and expect it to never get paid off. That's just not possible at all. There's no possible way that we could ever live in a society that this could ever be possible. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Can you live your life without having to pay your bills off? No, it's not feasible at all. So let's dig into the article a little bit more. So it is paid for in far more by the amount of deficit reduction that we're already on track for this year, said Bart Ramardi, the Deputy Director of the National Economic Council. Like I said, we're on track for 1.7 trillion deficit reduction this year. That means, practically speaking, compared to the previous year, 1.7 trillion more dollars are coming into the Treasury than going out. And we're using a portion of that, a very small portion of it, to provide relief to the middle class families, consistent with the Biden's plan. So, Biden announced last week that plans to forgive $10,000 in student loans for borrowers making less than $125,000 annually. Pell Grant recipients will receive $20,000 in debt handouts, provided their income is below $125,000 threshold. Administration officials claim that no individual or household of the top 5% of earners will benefit from this decision. The White House is also extending a pause on student loan payments throughout the end of the year, coinciding with the announcement in the new Education Department proposal that allows borrowers to cap undergraduate loan repayment at 5% of their monthly income, adding to the cost to taxpayers of the handout. So, and this is, what is this? I forgot what his name is. Chuck Schumer, right? I think that's Chuck Schumer. He's over here saying #cancel student debt. So what they want to do is just say, listen, we want no student debt at all. We want to go to college for free. Now, I'm going to rebuttal this thing that people are saying, right, about in Europe you can go to college for free. Okay, but what are you going to do in Europe? Are you going to start a business at the same exact level as what you're going to start a business here in America at? No, you're not. You can go try to start a business any other place in the country that you supposedly get free education, but you get free education because they're trying to incentivize people to open up businesses in those countries. People go to Europe to go to college for free and then come to America because you make more money here. America is the best country to have a business in, and that's period. There's no other argument against that. America is the best place to start a business in, period. China is not the best place to start a business in because the government is breathing down your neck into making any financial decision. In the United States, you have freedom to do whatever you want, to open up whatever business you want. That's the free market experience that we have in America, and people take for granted that every single day, and it's sad. It's sad that people take for granted that America has such a booming economy that anybody can start a business at any time without dealing with the government breathing down your neck at the same exact value as what they're doing in other countries. It's very, very sad. But moving on to the Dozen Takes segment, which is a brand new segment that I have right on this show that we're going to be talking about, I would say about 20 different news highlights of the week. So buckle up because this is a very interesting segment.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take I got no love.
Okay, so starting at the top, we have a CNN article, right, that I really don't agree with, but it's okay because it's okay, right? We have to talk about both of the sources. We have to talk about all these different sources so we can get a good idea of where we are at the level that we're at in America. We have to look at both sides of the aisle to see what they're doing. We need to see what the Democrats are doing. We need to see what the Republicans are doing so we can make our decision that way. So let's begin. So a radical shift at the border is making things tougher for Biden. Now, this is a CNN article admitting this. That's good, right? A radical shift at the border is making things tougher for Biden. We've been saying this since the very beginning. Look at about a year ago, I made a video all about the border and border crossings. So there's a major detail missing from many conversations about rising number of immigrants coming into the United States-Mexico border. Wow. Oh my God. I've only been saying this for years, but okay. Decades ago, the vast majority of migrants attempting to cross the border between points of entry were Mexican. A few years ago, mostly came from Central American countries known as the Northern Triangle: Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. But now, according to Border Patrol statistics, the number of people coming from outside those places are growing and fast. Well, you know why they're growing. This is exactly why they're growing. Because the Joe Biden administration is incentivizing people to come to America. Joe Biden even said while he was on the campaign trail, stumbling across every single state to try to get elected, right? Joe Biden said, come to America. The day you get elected, come, swarm the border. Come to America, and we're going to let you in. All these people swarmed the border as soon as he got elected, and then the Border Patrol did not have enough resources to handle all of these influx in people coming to the border. And I talked about this last year, that they didn't even know what to do, so they let them all in. So they let all these people into the United States border, causing havoc in Texas. Now, Texas Governor Greg Abbott actually talked about this and said, listen, we need to actually have more border patrol. We need to actually do something for America. We need to stop letting so many people in because they're causing havoc on our cities and states. And you know what the California governor, you know what the New York governor, you know what the DC governor said? They both said, listen, you're crazy. This is not happening. So you know what the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, said? He said, let's bus all those people to your states because you said that you're a sanctuary state for all of these immigrants. Let's ship them to your state. So they shipped them to D.C. and they shipped all of these immigrants to New York. And New York and D.C. had to go out and say that it is a national emergency because all of these people are coming in. So you're going to claim that it's a national emergency, that a lot of these people are getting bussed in. All of these immigrants are getting bussed into your states, which you claim are a sanctuary. But now you still disagree with the mere fact that it is a security breach to have an open border in the United States, especially when Texas is right there next to the border of the United States and Mexico. We need to have clear-cut borders with a lot of security because when we go to other countries, we need to go through security. So why wouldn't it make sense for other countries to other people from other countries to go through legally? I can't just walk into China and willy-nilly and go to the capital of China. I can't just go to any place in China. I can't go to anything without going through the proper paperwork first. And that makes sense. That's how it is, because that's how you make a strong country. That's how you make a country that is based on law and order, because we don't let anybody into this country unless you're filed in here legally. And that makes sense, right? Wow, it does. Wow, okay. So moving on. David Beer calls it a radical shift and a new phenomenon that nobody is talking about. Wow, I've only been talking about this for years, but okay. Beer, the Associate Director of Immigration Studies at the Cato Institute, pointed out the change in recent thread on Twitter. It's a telling detail, he says, that reveals a lot about what the Biden administration is facing at the border and why the situation has been so difficult to solve. It's been so difficult to solve because we don't just place people at the border with guns. We want to be like, oh, these people are coming for sanctuary. No, most of them are not coming for sanctuary. Some of them are coming for sanctuaries, and I can agree with that. If you're coming from a country that is abusing you, if you're coming from a family that is abusing you from another country, and you're saying, no, I need a better life, I need to go to America. No, they're not, because the whole entire family of 10 to 20 people are coming right through the border. So if they have such a hard life within their family, then why would they come to America with their whole entire family? It doesn't really make much sense. So let's continue. So to better understand this trend, CNN dove into the data. Wow, oh my God, CNN doing a little investigative journalism. Wow, that's hard to find these days. So let's zoom into this data right here. So Mexico is this over here, this gray. And then we have Northern Triangle, which is, I would say, this kind of like darker gray. And then we have all these other countries in this purple. So this is a graph that they have in front of us for our audio viewers. I'll explain it the best I possibly can. So they are saying from, I would say, 2011, well, I would say from 2007 to 2011, Mexico was at the forefront of all these immigrations coming from the southwest border. So during that time, the 2007 to 2011, right? Every single year, they tracked how many people came in. So from 2011, 800,000 people walked in from the southwest border. Okay. Now in 2008, 653,000 people came from the southwest border. In 2009, 495,000 people walked in from the southwest border from Mexico. All these people are from Mexico, by the way. In 2010, 396,000. So it's actually going down a little bit. In 2011, 280,000. So that's when it started taking a little deep dive down. And then we had the Northern Triangle filling in the gap. While it is going down, the Northern Triangle is filling in. But also, at the same exact time, Mexico has always been at the forefront of this border crossings. Okay? Or migrants, right? Okay? And then over here in, I would say, 2018, we have the Northern Triangle taking a huge leap up in the population that is coming through the border. It went from 223,000 in 2018 to 607,000 in 2019. Then it took a deep dive down in 2020, 103,000. But at the same exact time in 2020, 253,000 Mexicans came in from the northern border, the southwest border. And then all other countries in 2020 made up 43,000. But elevate that to 2020 and 2021. In all other countries in 2021, it's been more than it's ever been before at 367,000. Also, at the same exact time in 2021, 608,000 Mexicans came in from the southwest border. And then at the same exact time, the Northern Triangle in 2021 had 683. That's crazy. So if you add all this up, 683 plus 608,000 plus 367,000, that's a record in 2021. That's the most we've ever had until we saw 2020. In 2020, we had 453,000 just Northern Triangle people come in. At the same exact time in 2022, we had 630,000 Mexicans come in. That's about 20,000 more than we had in 2021. And then at the same exact time, all other countries in 2022 had 732,000 southwest border migrants arriving at the border. So that's just crazy. That's an increase from 2021, all other countries, 367, to 732. That's nearly a increase by 2 times in 1 year. That's crazy to think about. That's crazy to think about this many people trying to come to America. If America was such a racist country, why are so many people coming to America? Can anybody explain to me why, if America is a racist country, why are so many people from other countries, right? The Northern Triangle, Mexico, and all other countries, why are people coming to America if America is systemically racist? Nobody knows. Nobody knows the answer to what we are seeing here. Oh, wait, CNN does. What we are seeing. There's a big change in who's coming to the United States-Mexico border. A large number of migrants from Mexico and Northern Triangle are still making the journey. But the number of migrants from other countries represented here in purple have significantly increased, and that's exactly what I went over just now. Back in 2007, the number of migrants in this other category was neglectable, which I agree. In 2008, all other countries was only 6,000. When compared to 2008 Mexican border migrants, it was 653. Yeah, that's neglectable. I mean, that's not anything to worry about. So, but since then, it's grown dramatically by 11,000%. That's 11,000% increase. 11,000%. But can we ask why? Why are people trying to come to America so badly? Why are people trying to go through the border of the United States and Mexico border if America is racist? Racist. Because we are not racist at all. Let's just keep going, okay? Let's just keep going. A handful of countries made up a large portion. Okay, so a handful of countries make up a large portion of the growing group at the border. The number of times United States Border Patrol officials at the southwest border encountered migrants from Cuba, Colombia, Nicaragua, Venezuela has increased dramatically over the past 2 years. Migration is increasing from Cuba, Venezuela, Colombia, and Nargonza. So if you look at this graph here, it shows the same exact thing that the last graph showed, but actually CNN was doing some pretty good, decent journalism. Wow, for the first time. So in 2022, February 1st, we had 3,000 Venezuelans. And this shows a month to month. So I'm not going to go over all of these things, but if you do want to watch the video portion of this podcast, it's going to be available on all these streaming platforms. Now, this is the thing, right? This is the thing. If all these people, and I'm going to keep making this connection, if all of these people are coming through the border, what is America going to do about this? Are we going to start letting in people by the millions? Apparently, I mean, in 2020, we had a lot of people trying to come into this country. Are we going to let them come in all at once? I think we had about 2 million people, upwards of 2 million people tried to come to the southwest border alone. So are we going to let all these people in all at once? Of course we're not. But is the Joe Biden administration going to sit here and claim that they are? Yes, they are, because they want to be elected. This is the only reason why all of these officials are even trying to even think about letting these people into the country illegally. I mean, these people are obviously at the border and they're migrants, so they're coming through legally. But the thing is, not everybody comes through legally, and that's the sad part. Come through legally, get filed in, then we can talk, okay? If you don't file in legally, then there's no purpose of you even coming here, because we don't want you here if you don't come here legally. That's it. I'm going to make it about that. Come in legally, and we'll think about accepting you, okay? We can accept all of these people, but we think about accepting you, okay? That's it. Next story. From a Republican tsunami to a puddle. Why the forecast for November is changing. Now, the funny thing is that CNN Politics runs this story, right? And at the same exact time, Fox News runs the exact opposite story. So we have two conflicting news stories from different sources. Of course we do, because CNN is a left-wing source and the Fox News is a Republican source, or a right-wing source. So the thing is, who do you trust? Let's read both of them to see. So, this is according to CNN. It was a referendum. Now it's a choice. For political professionals in both parties, it's a capsule of explanation for why the Democratic position in the midterm elections appears to have improved so much since summer began. When the election looked to be primarily a referendum on the performance of the Democrats who control the White House and Congress, Republicans were optimistic that a towering red wave would carry them to sweeping gains in November. But with evidence suggesting more voters are treating the election as a comparative choice between two parties, operatives on both sides are bracing for a closely contested outcome that could include an unusual divergence in results for the House and those in Senate and governor races. It feels to me to be more like a shallow red puddle that we're walking through rather than a tsunami of sorts, says Republican strategist John Thomas. The key to change in expectations is a shift in issues motivating the electorate earlier this year. The debate between the parties centered on inflation, the economy, crime, immigration, and Joe Biden's stalled legislative agenda in Congress. All issues that motivated the Republican base and aligned many swing voters from Democrats. But a series of dramatic events over the past few months have elevated an entirely different set of issues: gun violence, threat to democracy, and climate change, and above all, abortion rights. Oh my God, let's touch base with every single one of these things. Let's touch base, okay? So, we're going to be highlighting, right? Okay, so let's get our highlighter out, folks. So, there's a lot to uncover. So, an entirely different set of issues, right? Now, gun violence has always been a key issue on the ballot, right? Gun violence, I mean, especially now, when a lot more is happening, a lot more school shootings is happening, I guess, a lot more mass shootings, right? It's not the guns that do the shooting. I don't know how many times I need to say this. Okay, it's not the guns that do the shooting. It's the people that do the shooting. If we're not going to give the people proper help, if we're not going to have the red flag laws enacted that actually do something instead of just sitting here and making a political stance against or with a person just for the way that they think, then that's not a proper red flag law. But if we're going to sit here and actually make educated guesses and saying, okay, wait a second, this person is acting very suspicious, this person is doing this, this, and this, and we can prove without a reasonable doubt that this person is going to cause conflict in the future, then we take their gun away. But if we cannot prove without a reasonable doubt that this person is going to cause any harm to anybody, then why are we going to just take away their guns without anything? Now, that's number one, right? There's a lot. Threats to democracy. Threats to democracy. Threats to democracy. So, the main difference between Democrats' quote, threat to democracy, and Republicans' quote, threat to democracy, is the mere opinion, right? Is the opinion, right, that in Democrats' eyes, right, threats to democracy are us making the election safer. How is that ever a threat to democracy? Proving who you are at the ballot box is not a threat to democracy. That's stupid. Now, climate change. Climate change has been literally on the ballot box, and that's not a different set of issues, right? Climate change has always been on the ballot since the beginning of time. Since Jesus made the earth, the climate was changing. Every single season, the climate changes. Every single summer, every single spring, every single winter, every single fall, the climate changes. Oh my God, wow, we have different temperatures depending on what season it is in the world. That's climate change. And in the last 50 years to 100 years, the climate has changed less than 1 degree hotter. So how are we going to say that the climate's changing? It's because of the fact that they've been saying this for years. In 1960s to 1970s, there was a book written saying that there's going to be a massive influx in the oceans rising because of these ice caps melting because the temperatures are rising. And these same exact people that are saying that the ocean is rising and we need to look at this are having houses next to the ocean. Obama says that the oceans are rising and climate change is something that we need to look at. And then he has a Martha's Vineyard house. Martha's Vineyard is on an island surrounded by water. If you're so concerned about the oceans rising, why would you go and buy a house next to the ocean? It doesn't make any sense. If you're scared of the oceans rising, why wouldn't you go to somewhere like Texas, where you're completely fine and away from the water? Yes, you have some little ponds over here, you have some little lakes over here, but it's nothing. It's not going to rise like you're saying in the whole entire grand scheme of the old ocean. Or go to Oklahoma where there's absolutely no water at all. How about we go there? No, because it's a lie that the oceans are going to rise. Because if it wasn't a lie, you wouldn't go and spend millions of dollars on a house in Martha's Vineyard, Obama. Next. And above all, abortion rights. Let me make a statement on this right now. Okay, and this might not be popular, right? It is popular within conservatives, right? But this is my opinion, and this is not even an opinion. This is a fact. A baby is a baby at conception. Okay? When you kill a baby, it is against the law. It is a moral law not to kill a baby. When you kill a baby that is 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, 6 months old, 8 months old, 2 months old, 1 month old, or still in the womb, it is the same exact thing. A baby is a baby no matter where it lives. Why? A baby's not a baby in China? A baby's not a baby in Venezuela? A baby's not a baby in Mexico? A baby's not a baby in New York? So we can just go and kill a baby that we don't want? If you went and had consensual sex and now you are pregnant with a baby, you put that baby up for an adoption if you don't want it. You don't kill the baby. Because ask any person that was put up for adoption from their family, they would much rather be put up for adoption than killed. That's the God honest truth. If you don't want a baby, don't have consensual sex, and that's it. Telling people not to have sex is not telling you that you can't live your life, because your life does not depend on sex. Yes, we are animals that revolve around reproducing. So yes, it is a very, very obvious thing that we're going to be addicted to sex. But telling you not to have sex for a day until you get a condom, until you, take birth control, take all of these measures to prevent yourself from having a baby. And after all of those things, if you did have a baby after all of these different factors, then maybe we can look at it. But the percentage of you having a baby on birth control, having a condom, having the morning after pill, all of these things, you have a 0.000000000000001% chance of having a baby. After all of these things. And the best thing that you can do to not have a baby is put it in another place or don't have sex at all. If you don't want a baby, the whole point of sex is to have a baby. Why would you have sex? If the whole point of sex is to have a baby, it doesn't make any sense. People are so promiscuous that you tell them not to have sex and you're attacking them as a person. We're not attacking you as a person. We're not attacking you as a person. We're not attacking anybody as a person. We're telling you not to have sex because we don't want a baby being killed, just because of your neglection to actually acknowledge that the fact of us having a baby is to make the fact of us having sex is to make a baby. That is the process of us having sex. That's exactly why God intended for us to have sex, to reproduce. That's exactly why God said to have sex to make a baby. Wow. Okay, moving on. Ozzy Osbourne says that he's leaving the United States because of gun violence. Ozzy, you're dumb. I like a couple of your songs. Now we don't. This is the exact same thing that Green Day did. Green Day, Ozzy Osbourne, if you don't want to stay in America, if you don't want to actually get a gun, be an American, and say, listen, we have violence in America, but they have violence in Venezuela, they have violence in Mexico, they have violence in China, they have violence in North Korea, South Korea. They have violence in every single Russia, right? Russia, Ukraine. Did we forget? There's a lot of violence in all these other countries. But why are we blaming America for gun violence? When it is not America causing the gun violence, it's these people that we keep arresting and then letting them get released back into society. These are the people causing the problems for gun violence. Because in New York, in California, in DC, we keep arresting these people that are causing conflict, robbing stores, doing all these other things, and then we just set them out to be free the day after. How is that going to teach them a lesson not to do that again? It's really not. Ozzy Osbourne, stay out of America because we don't want you anyway. Next. So, this is from MSNBC. So we went from CNN, right? We're going to go to MSNBC, and then we're going to go to Fox News, Breitbart, the Daily Wire, and then we're going to finish off with the AP, right? So, Trump's response to the FBI search is definitely paying off for the DOJ. This is the news story right here. Now, let that sink in. Let that sink in for a little bit. Trump's response to the FBI search is definitely paying off for the DOJ. So, let me get this straight. The DOJ just put out a statement saying that a lot of officials are getting death threats. A lot of officials from the National Archives is getting death threats. But we're going to sit here and blatantly lie and say that it's paying off for the DOJ? It doesn't make any sense at all. It does not make any sense. Former President Donald Trump's response to the FBI search in Mar-a-Lago is paying off for the Justice Department, not for him. Trump was quick to point out the historic nature of the search, within his words, un-American, unwarranted, and unnecessary. But far from helping his case, statements like this merely show the Justice Department viewed Trump's apparent mishandling of government documents as an unpredicted threat. Unprecedented threat. Unprecedented. So far, the only thing constant about Trump's defense strategy is that it is largely incoherent and largely irrelevant. Trump intimidated that the FBI plated documents at his estate in Palm Beach, Florida. The problem with that, in addition to the fact that there are no basis for this claim, is that Trump has also argued that there is no problem with his having said documents, not only because they are privileged, but also because he declassified them. The National Archives Administration rejected Trump's previous privilege arguments, which were likely less more than an attempt to stonewall the investigation. Now, here's the thing. We need to change this thing. We need to change the way that presidents declassify information, because we keep having stuff like this. We keep having issues that come up that we are confused about, right? We are confused about the situation with presidents declassifying information. If we do not know how the president actually declassifies information, how are we supposed to know if a president actually declassified the information or not? We actually don't know if the president declassified the information or not, and that's not a good thing. If we don't know if the president actually declassified a piece of document and then taken it to his home, then how are we supposed to know if that's against the law or not? We need to have a clear-cut case on the president, on how presidents declassify information, because presidents have the ability to declassify any information that they want. Now, if they go and tweet out something about a document that they just read, it automatically becomes declassified. We need to have it actually go through the court system, because that would make it clear cut. On this day, you went to the court system and you said, I want to declassify this, and we accepted it, boom. Instead, the way that presidents declassify information is to frame them in a bad light if they want to. But Obama took lots of classified documents and said that he was going to release it publicly, and he still didn't. So it's okay for Obama to take declassified information to his D.C. mansion, but it's not okay for Trump to take classified documents to his Mar-a-Lago vacation home in Florida. Something seems fishy. Next, Lindsey Graham's warning of riots are a threat. Now, this was trending on Twitter, right? For no reason at all. This was trending on Twitter. Lindsey Graham's warnings of riots are a threat. So, Republican Lindsey Graham of South Carolina is warning everyone that if Donald Trump ends up being charged for his Mar-a-Lago cache of classified documents, there will be mayhem in America. If they try to prosecute President Trump for mishandling classified information after Hillary Clinton set up a server in her basement, there are literally going to be riots on the street. Now, I would have framed this differently, especially because they're investigating a lot of people for inciting violence on January 6th. So even if you said that we should fight for our right, they're taking that and saying that you wanted to single-handedly take over the United States government. How dare you? That's what they're saying. Now, knowing this, what they're doing for January 6th people and everybody involved with January 6th, I personally would not make this claim. But also at the same exact time, I'm not the one making a threat. Lindsey Graham is not the one making a threat. He's saying that it will happen, but he's not saying that he's the one that's going to be doing it. See what I'm saying here? Other people are the ones going to be doing it. So, he said this in a Fox News interview. I worry about our country. Graham, in effect, made the point about riots twice. It's an extra pernicious turn of phrase, but a talking point. That talking point was more than just a prediction. It was also a threat. Oh my God. See, they're trying to frame this in such a way that anybody could be blamed for anything, right? Graham is a disinterested social scientist forecasting the future of the Trump movement. He's a powerful conservative politician, one of the most influential Trump sycophants on Capitol Hill, and he was talking about the most influential conservative media outlet in the country. Fox News is not conservative. I'm sorry. Fox News is not conservative. They lost my trust, Fox News, when they ran the transgender story. They're not conservative. They're Republican. I'm sorry. So, as he expected a general worry about the nation, he didn't condemn the idea of riots that he said would follow a Trump indictment. And his comments about the incitement of riots cast blame on the Justice Department instead of the man with a history of gruesome... Okay, so you're just stupid, MSNBC. I don't know what I expected from an MSNBC article, but this sums up the whole entire thing. Instead of the man with a history of grotesque abuse of power who absconded a Mar-a-Lago with sensitive documents. But when Bill Clinton left the White House, he took half of the White House with him in classified documents. When Obama left the White House, he took a lot of documents with him to his D.C. mansion. This is from MSNBC. So we went from CNN, right? We're going to go to MSNBC, and then we're going to go to Fox News, Breitbart, the Daily Wire, and then we're going to finish off with the AP, right? So Trump's response to the FBI search is definitely paying off for the DOJ. This is the news story right here. Now, let that sink in. Let that sink in for a little bit. Trump's response to the FBI search is definitely paying off for the DOJ. So, let me get this straight. The DOJ just put out a statement saying that a lot of officials are getting death threats. A lot of officials from the National Archives is getting death threats. But we're going to sit here and blatantly lie and say that it's paying off for the DOJ? It doesn't make any sense at all. It does not make any sense. Former President Donald Trump's response to the FBI search in Mar-a-Lago is paying off for the Justice Department, not for him. Trump was quick to point out the historic nature of the search, within his words, un-American, unwarranted, and unnecessary. But far from helping his case, statements like this merely show the Justice Department viewed Trump's apparent mishandling of government documents as an unpredicted threat. Unprecedented threat. Unprecedented. So far, the only thing constant about Trump's defense strategy is that it is largely incoherent and largely irrelevant. Trump intimidated that the FBI plated documents at his estate in Palm Beach, Florida. The problem with that, in addition to the fact that there are no basis for this claim, is that Trump has also argued that there is no problem with his having said documents, not only because they are privileged, but also because he declassified them. The National Archives Administration rejected Trump's previous privilege arguments, which were likely less more than an attempt to stonewall the investigation. Now, here's the thing. We need to change this thing. We need to change the way that presidents declassify information, because we keep having stuff like this. We keep having issues that come up that we are confused about, right? We are confused about the situation with presidents declassifying information. If we do not know how the president actually declassifies information, how are we supposed to know if a president actually declassified the information or not? We actually don't know if the president declassified the information or not, and that's not a good thing. If we don't know if the president actually declassified a piece of document and then taken it to his home, then how are we supposed to know if that's against the law or not? We need to have a clear-cut case on the president, on how presidents declassify information, because presidents have the ability to declassify any information that they want. Now, if they go and tweet out something about a document that they just read, it automatically becomes declassified. We need to have it actually go through the court system, because that would make it clear cut. On this day, you went to the court system and you said, I want to declassify this, and we accepted it, boom. Instead, the way that presidents declassify information is to frame them in a bad light if they want to. But Obama took lots of classified documents and said that he was going to release it publicly, and he still didn't. So it's okay for Obama to take declassified information to his D.C. mansion, but it's not okay for Trump to take classified documents to his Mar-a-Lago vacation home in Florida. Something seems fishy. Next, Lindsey Graham's warning of riots are a threat. Now, this was trending on Twitter, right? For no reason at all. This was trending on Twitter. Lindsey Graham's warnings of riots are a threat. So, Republican Lindsey Graham of South Carolina is warning everyone that if Donald Trump ends up being charged for his Mar-a-Lago cache of classified documents, there will be mayhem in America. If they try to prosecute President Trump for mishandling classified information after Hillary Clinton set up a server in her basement, there are literally going to be riots on the street. Now, I would have framed this differently, especially because they're investigating a lot of people for inciting violence on January 6th. So even if you said that we should fight for our right, they're taking that and saying that you wanted to single-handedly take over the United States government. How dare you? That's what they're saying. Now, knowing this, what they're doing for January 6th people and everybody involved with January 6th, I personally would not make this claim. But also at the same exact time, I'm not the one making a threat. Lindsey Graham is not the one making a threat. He's saying that it will happen, but he's not saying that he's the one that's going to be doing it. See what I'm saying here? Other people are the ones going to be doing it. So, he said this in a Fox News interview. I worry about our country. Graham, in effect, made the point about riots twice. It's an extra pernicious turn of a phrase, but a talking point. That talking point was more than just a prediction. It was also a threat. Oh my God. See, they're trying to frame this in such a way that anybody could be blamed for anything, right? Graham isn't a disinterested social scientist forecasting the future of the Trump movement. He's a powerful conservative politician, one of the most influential Trump sycophants on Capitol Hill, and he was talking about the most influential conservative media outlet in the country. Fox News is not conservative. I'm sorry. Fox News is not conservative. They lost my trust, Fox News, when they ran the transgender story. They're not conservative. They're Republican. I'm sorry. So, as he expected a general worry about the nation, he didn't condemn the idea of riots that he said would follow a Trump indictment. And his comments about the incitement of riots cast blame on the Justice Department instead of the man with a history of gruesome. Okay, so you're just stupid, MSNBC. I don't know what I expected from an MSNBC article, but this sums up the whole entire thing. Instead of the man with a history of grotesque abuse of power who absconded a Mar-a-Lago with sensitive documents. But when Bill Clinton left the White House, he took half of the White House with him in classified documents. When Obama left the White House, he took a lot of documents with him to his D.C. mansion. But are we going to talk about that? No, because you're friends with the guy. That's why you're not going to talk about it. MSNBC, don't lie to yourself. Next. Why quiet quitting is a dead end. Wait a second. Finally, we're admitting the very, very stupidity of quiet quitting. Now, let me explain what quiet quitting is. And this is the article, by the way. Forgot to show it, right? This is what quiet quitting is. Quiet quitting is when you don't want to quit your job. Instead of quitting, you're just going to do less work. You're going to do less work and end up getting ultimately fired because you don't like your job. So why is it a dead end? MSNBC explains in such a way. Have you ever heard the news? Quiet quitting is all the rage among young Americans who are bored out of... Oh, okay. Okay, so never mind. Let me restart this, okay? Have you heard the news? Quiet quitting is all the rage among young Americans who are burned out and fed up with being overworked. Quiet quitting is underlying ambition to draw clearer boundaries between work and life is a healthy one in a society that fetishes endless hustle. Wow. Look at us. We're on the wrong source. Okay. I was just reading this one right here. Okay, so it's a self-undermining concept, and it's actively vulnerable to being co-opted by managers. And unless it's coupled with a broader understanding of why many people feel a compulsion to martyr themselves to the workplace, and how unions are a worker's best bet for a designated working environment, it's a dead end. Wow, would have thought. So you putting in less effort is a dead end to your job because, yes, it's going to get you ultimately fired, okay, because you're putting less work in. But if you don't like the job that you are, why don't you just find another job? Why quiet quit? You're putting in less work, which is going to get you recognized and then probably written up because you're not putting in the same amount of work as what you did before, but whatever. So there isn't a consensus on the premise meaning of quiet quitting. That's what it was, but whatever. A buzzword that took off on TikTok this summer and a viral video in July with more than 40,000 shares describes it like you're not outright quitting your job, but you're quitting the idea of going above and beyond. So you're lazy. You give up on your job because you don't want to quit. I'm not going to read the rest of it because it's just stupid. Next. This is from MSNBC. So we went from CNN, right? We're going to go to MSNBC, and then we're going to go to Fox News, Breitbart, the Daily Wire, and then we're going to finish off with the AP, right? So, Trump's response to the FBI search is definitely paying off for the DOJ. This is the news story right here. Now, let that sink in. Let that sink in for a little bit. Trump's response to the FBI search is definitely paying off for the DOJ. So, let me get this straight. The DOJ just put out a statement saying that a lot of officials are getting death threats. A lot of officials from the National Archives is getting death threats. But we're going to sit here and blatantly lie and say that it's paying off for the DOJ? It doesn't make any sense at all. It does not make any sense. Former President Donald Trump's response to the FBI search in Mar-a-Lago is paying off for the Justice Department, not for him. Trump was quick to point out the historic nature of the search, within his words, un-American, unwarranted, and unnecessary. But far from helping his case, statements like this merely show the Justice Department viewed Trump's apparent mishandling of government documents as an unpredicted threat. Unprecedented threat. Unprecedented. So far, the only thing constant about Trump's defense strategy is that it is largely incoherent and largely irrelevant. Trump intimidated that the FBI plated documents at his estate in Palm Beach, Florida. The problem with that, in addition to the fact that there are no basis for this claim, is that Trump has also argued that there is no problem with his having said documents, not only because they are privileged, but also because he declassified them. The National Archives Administration rejected Trump's previous privilege arguments, which were likely less more than an attempt to stonewall the investigation. Now, here's the thing. We need to change this thing. We need to change the way that presidents declassify information, because we keep having stuff like this. We keep having issues that come up that we are confused about, right? We are confused about the situation with presidents declassifying information. If we do not know how the president actually declassifies information, how are we supposed to know if a president actually declassified the information or not? We actually don't know if the president declassified the information or not, and that's not a good thing. If we don't know if the president actually declassified a piece of document and then taken it to his home, then how are we supposed to know if that's against the law or not? We need to have a clear-cut case on the president, on how presidents declassify information, because presidents have the ability to declassify any information that they want. Now, if they go and tweet out something about a document that they just read, it automatically becomes declassified. We need to have it actually go through the court system, because that would make it clear cut. On this day, you went to the court system and you said, I want to declassify this, and we accepted it, boom. Instead, the way that presidents declassify information is to frame them in a bad light if they want to. But Obama took lots of classified documents and said that he was going to release it publicly, and he still didn't. So it's okay for Obama to take declassified information to his D.C. mansion, but it's not okay for Trump to take classified documents to his Mar-a-Lago vacation home in Florida. Something seems fishy. Next, Lindsey Graham's warning of riots are a threat. Now, this was trending on Twitter, right? For no reason at all. This was trending on Twitter. Lindsey Graham's warnings of riots are a threat. So, Republican Lindsey Graham of South Carolina is warning everyone that if Donald Trump ends up being charged for his Mar-a-Lago cache of classified documents, there will be mayhem in America. If they try to prosecute President Trump for mishandling classified information after Hillary Clinton set up a server in her basement, there are literally going to be riots on the street. Now, I would have framed this differently, especially because they're investigating a lot of people for inciting violence on January 6th. So even if you said that we should fight for our right, they're taking that and saying that you wanted to single-handedly take over the United States government. How dare you? That's what they're saying. Now, knowing this, what they're doing for January 6th people and everybody involved with January 6th, I personally would not make this claim. But also at the same exact time, I'm not the one making a threat. Lindsey Graham is not the one making a threat. He's saying that it will happen, but he's not saying that he's the one that's going to be doing it. See what I'm saying here? Other people are the ones going to be doing it. So, he said this in a Fox News interview. I worry about our country. Graham, in effect, made the point about riots twice. It's an extra pernicious turn of a phrase, but a talking point. That talking point was more than just a prediction. It was also a threat. Oh my God. See, they're trying to frame this in such a way that anybody could be blamed for anything, right? Graham isn't a disinterested social scientist forecasting the future of the Trump movement. He's a powerful conservative politician, one of the most influential Trump sycophantics on Capitol Hill, and he was talking about the most influential conservative media outlet in the country. Fox News is not conservative. I'm sorry. Fox News is not conservative. They lost my trust, Fox News, when they ran the transgender story. They're not conservative. They're Republican. I'm sorry. So, as he expected a general worry about the nation, he didn't condemn the idea of riots that he said would follow a Trump indictment. And his comments about the incitement of riots cast blame on the Justice Department instead of the man with a history of gruesome... Okay, so you're just stupid, MSNBC. I don't know what I expected from an MSNBC article, but this sums up the whole entire thing. Instead of the man with a history of grotesque abuse of power who obstructed a Mar-a-Lago with sensitive documents. But when Bill Clinton left the White House, he took half of the White House with him in classified documents. When Obama left the White House, he took a lot of documents with him to his D.C. mansion. But are we going to talk about that? No, because you're friends with the guy. That's why you're not going to talk about it. MSNBC, don't lie to yourself. Next. Why quiet quitting is a dead end. Wait a second. Finally, we're admitting the very, very stupidity of quiet quitting. Now, let me explain what quiet quitting is. And this is the article, by the way. Forgot to show it, right? This is what quiet quitting is. Quiet quitting is when you don't want to quit your job. Instead of quitting, you're just going to do less work. You're going to do less work and end up getting ultimately fired because you don't like your job. So why is it a dead end? MSNBC explains in such a way. Have you ever heard the news? Quiet quitting is all the rage among young Americans who are bored out of... Oh, okay. Okay, so never mind. Let me restart this, okay? Have you heard the news? Quiet quitting is all the rage among young Americans who are burned out and fed up with being overworked. Quiet quitting is underlying ambition to draw clearer boundaries between work and life is a healthy one in a society that fetishes endless hustle. Wow. Look at us. We're on the wrong source. Okay. I was just reading this one right here. Okay, so it's a self-undermining concept, and it's actively vulnerable to being co-opted by managers. And unless it's coupled with a broader understanding of why many people feel a compulsion to martyr themselves to the workplace, and how unions are a worker's best bet for a designated working environment. It's a dead end. Wow, would have thought. So you putting in less effort is a dead end to your job because, yes, it's going to get you ultimately fired, okay, because you're putting less work in. But if you don't like the job that you are, why don't you just find another job? Why quiet quit? You're putting in less work, which is going to get you recognized and then probably written up because you're not putting in the same amount of work as what you did before, but whatever. So, there isn't a consensus on the premise meaning of quiet quitting. That's what it was, but whatever. A buzzword that took off on TikTok this summer and a viral video in July with more than 40,000 shares describes it like you're not outright quitting your job, but you're quitting the idea of going above and beyond. So you're lazy. You give up on your job because you don't want to quit. I'm not going to read the rest of it because it's just stupid. Next. But are we going to talk about that? No. Because you're friends with the guy. You're friends with the guy. That's why you're not going to talk about it. MSNBC. Don't lie to yourself. Next. Why quiet quitting is a dead end. Wait a second. Finally, we're admitting the very, very stupidity of quiet quitting. Now, let me explain what quiet quitting is. And this is the article, by the way. Forgot to show it, right? This is what quiet quitting is. Quiet quitting is when you don't want to quit your job. Instead of quitting, you're just going to do less work. You're going to do less work and end up getting ultimately fired because you don't like your job. So why is it a dead end? MSNBC explains in such a way. Have you ever heard the news? Quiet quitting is all the rage among young Americans who are bored out of... Oh, okay. Okay, so never mind. Let me restart this, okay? Have you heard the news? Quiet quitting is all the rage among young Americans who are burned out and fed up with being overworked. Quiet quitting is underlying ambition to draw clearer boundaries between work and life is a healthy one in a society that fetishes endless hustle. Wow. Look at us. We're on the wrong source. Okay. I was just reading this one right here. Okay, so it's a self-undermining concept, and it's actively vulnerable to being co-opted by managers. And unless it's coupled with a broader understanding of why many people feel a compulsion to martyr themselves to the workplace, and how unions are a worker's best bet for a designated working environment, it's a dead end. Wow, would have thought. So you putting in less effort is a dead end to your job because, yes, it's going to get you ultimately fired, okay, because you're putting less work in. But if you don't like the job that you are, why don't you just find another job? Why quiet quit? You're putting in less work, which is going to get you recognized and then probably written up because you're not putting in the same amount of work as what you did before, but whatever. So, there isn't a consensus on the premise meaning of quiet quitting. That's what it was, but whatever. A buzzword that took off on TikTok this summer and a viral video in July with more than 40,000 shares describes it like you're not outright quitting your job, but you're quitting the idea of going above and beyond. So you're lazy. You give up on your job because you don't want to quit. I'm not going to read the rest of it because it's just stupid. Next. Inside the rise of stellar ships in the shady economics of car buying. Wow. Okay. This is from the NPR. So, recently, my truck was stolen, forcing me to get some wheels, and for the first time in my life, I was looking to buy a new car. The process has involved hours of searching, painful hangling, and encounters with many dealerships that, quite frankly, have been downright depleterious. Okay. The whole thing has been quite of a nightmare. Cars, of course, expensive, especially with supply chain fiasco creating shortages. But it's more than that. Shopping for cars is not like shopping for most other products. Unlike, say, computers, refrigerators, cars are typically not sold for one standard price. 10 people could go to the dealership and each pay a wildly different amount to buy the same exact vehicle. Economics call this short of pricing strategy price discrimination. NPR, you're stupid already. That's when instead of charging everybody the same price, sellers charge people different prices based on their willingness to pay. In simpler terms, it means that the seller milks as much money as they can out of you. Not all dealerships engage in this pricing strategy, but many do, aggressively often with a snake oil style salesmanship. Descriptive marketing tactics, hidden fees, and overpriced add-ons like floor mats, alarm systems, and anti-rust undercoating. Some customers call the outfits that employ these tactics stellarships. Okay, so here's the thing. You go to a dealership, you need to fully expect that this person is not selling the car for exactly the amount that they get. So you negotiate. Wow, you negotiate? How, what do you mean negotiate? What, negotiate? Yeah. You negotiate the price at the dealership because buying a car, you're right, is not like buying a refrigerator. But it's not price discrimination. These left-wing organizations like to say discrimination. That's not discrimination. It's saying who's more experienced to buy a car. You need to negotiate the price down a bit. If you don't want to pay a high price, tell them, take off this fee. Take off this fee. Okay, now I'll think about getting it. Well, if we were to get $1,000 off right now, I'll sign. And then boom, you got yourself a deal. They just want to make the car sale. And that's how you negotiate. That's exactly what I did for my car also. You're stupid, NPR. For the 50,000th time. So, the last member of a tribe in Brazil has died, pulling indigenous rights into focus. You're stupid. NPR. I'm just going to call every single article you write stupid. Like, you're going to make my eyes need bleach. You're stupid. Indigenous people were not the first people to come to America. Who came to America before the indigenous tribe? Are we not going to talk about that? Are we not going to talk about who came before even that tribe? Who came before even that tribe that came even before the tribe that came before the tribe that the indigenous people were on? And who was here before that? And who was there before that? Jesus Christ walked this earth in zero. Okay? On the year zero. It's 2000. You know how many years that could go by? How about before Christ existed, BCE? How about all those years? Huh? Who walked America? Nobody? Nobody walked across America? It just doesn't make any sense. Are we gonna pay dinosaurs now because they walked this earth before the indigenous people, before all these other tribes came across? No, we're not, because it does not make sense. Through history, they fought for the land. And if you wanted to keep that land, you needed to have a strong army. If you did not have a strong army, you lost the land. I'm sorry, I don't agree with it, but that's how it works. And that's how it works now. With Russia and Ukraine, why are we going to sit here and ignore the fact that we still ignore this claim? And we still ignore this, right? Why are we paying indigenous people or indigenous connected people, right, to stay here in America? Why are we giving them tax incentives? Why are we giving big casinos like Mohegan Sun? Why are we giving big casinos like Foxwoods incentives to stay here based off of the mere claim that indigenous people were connected to those people? So it was indigenous land. We're giving them all these tax breaks in the world because their ancestors were here before us. Who was here before them? Like, it's just mind-boggling to me that we're going to sit here and lose millions and billions of dollars per year, or not billions of dollars per year, but $1 billion probably every couple of years from Foxwoods alone. That's how much money they're making. We're going to sit here and lose all that money because of the mere claim that indigenous people were the people here first. There's no way in hell that indigenous people were here first. It does not make any sense. This claim is stupid. NPR, you're just dumb. Next, NPR. So, DC Comics reduces Latinos to their food in Hispanic Heritage Month. Covers fans say. So, in this DC comic, right, there's food. There's food in this one. There's food in this one. Oh, and there's food. Oh, there's tacos in this one. Now, this was written by a Hispanic, right? Now, are we just going to forget the fact that this happened? Oh, my God. I keep forgetting. Okay. This is DC Comics, right? DC Comics reduces Latinos to their food in Hispanic Heritage Month, right? This is the covers right here. On the left one, we have a DC superhero carrying groceries. And this middle one here, he's getting Mexican food. And over here, all the way to the right, we have him eating tacos, right? Are we going to forget the fact that Joe Biden said that Latinos are as vibrant as breakfast tacos?
But we can't get those things on our own. Raul helped build this organization with the understanding that the diversity of this community, as distinct as the Bogotas of the Bronx, as beautiful as the blossoms of Miami, and as unique as the breakfast tacos here in San Antonio,
oh my God, you're so funny. Okay.
Is your strength. And yet...
Okay, you're dumb. You're dumb. You're literally dumb. Joe Biden, you have the same IQ as your husband, and that's saying a lot. Because your husband is losing his mind. He was losing his mind for a long time, but now you're losing your mind. Let's get to some partly some real news, right? We're going to Fox News. Border Patrol chief says border crisis a result of Biden's no consequences policy for illegal immigrants. This is exactly what I was talking about before. So, Border Patrol Chief Raul Rutgeritz said under oath that President Biden's border policies have no consequences for illegal migrants traveling into the United States and are to blame for unprecedented surge at the border and release of hundreds of thousands into the interior of the country. Fox News Digital first obtained a video of Ortiz's ascensions, which came during a recorded deposition from July 28 as part of a discovery in a lawsuit by Florida Attorney General Harshly Moody against the Department of Homeland Security and other border agencies. Ortiz has more than 31 years of experience in law enforcement. Told attorneys representing Florida that he believes migration will increase at a exponential rate at the southern border because there are no consequences in place to curb the tide of migrants flooding into the United States. So here's the thing with that. Ortiz has more than 31 years of experience in law enforcement, told attorneys representing Florida that he believes migration will increase at an exponential rate at the southern border because there are no consequences in place to curb the tide of migrants flooding into the United States. This is crazy right here. And this is a person that has over 31 years of experience. That's crazy, and that's exactly what I was saying before. Joe Biden said while on the campaign trail, come into the United States. Come, we'll accept you. We'll let everybody in. That's exactly why they are letting people into the border, either legally or illegally. So, heroes of Kabul. This is a Fox News article. All good here. Special Forces Staff Sergeant Ryan Karnos wrote in last message tomorrow. So, what happened here? In this article, Ryan Christian Karnos walked a mile through Argolan National Cemetery in May 2016, long before he joined the ranks of the United States Army Special Operations Forces. He took in the hills of neatly spaced marble headstones and read the names of those who sacrificed their lives for the country. 5 years later, he was laid to rest at the same scared ground. Staff Sergeant Karnos was 23 years old when he had 12 additional American service members died in August 26, 2021, suicide bombing at Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul. his mother has spent every day for the past year thinking about him. Ryan doesn't leave me any day. Paul Kronos Stealth, Fox News, told Fox News if she could see him again, she would just want to hold him and tell him, job well done. He did a job well done from his birth until his death, she said. It did not surprise anybody that Ryan enlisted. He had several veterans in the family, including a grandfather who served in World War II. From as early as Parla can remember, his son's favorite activity was dressing up in camouflage and running around with a walkie-talkie in one hand and a toy gun in the other. As Ryan got older, and his older brother Tyler Kronos would play army in the fields and woods by their home in Corryton, Tennessee, his dream, his heart, his purpose in life was to serve in the armed forces. And congratulations to him, and sorry for your loss, Parla. So, Biden's semi-fascist label, latest anti-GOP manicure, best stoned by Democrats media. So, we're going to be watching this video from a montage of Democrats' history of labeling Republicans racist, Nazis, and terrorists. So, let's see that.
What do you mean by semi-fascism, sir?
In December, you will...
You know what I mean.
And we have to start calling his supporters racist as well. That MAGA symbol has come to represent...
That's stupid. I already know what they were going to say during that, but I still want to see it. Come on now. Fox News, play. Like, what's going on? Okay, this is a compilation right here.
You know what I mean. What do you mean by semi-fascism, sir?
In December, you will...
You know what I mean.
And we have to start calling his supporters racist as well. That MAGA symbol has come to represent something. It is the new Nazi symbol.
It is not. Make America Great Again? How? How is Make America Great Again racist?
Is the new hood.
Because they're not a party, right? They're Sinn Féin to the IRA. They're the PLO to Hamas. They're a dime store front for a terrorist movement.
The Republican Party is basically a domestic terrorist cell at this point, and they should be treated as such.
There are elements of the GOP that are starting to look like the jihadists.
Not a political party. They're a white nationalist movement. They're a fascist threat to our nation. That's not hyperbolic. That's academic.
Would have once seemed hyperbolic, but it increasingly does feel like the Republican Party has become a death cult, and it's all about Donald Trump.
There is no alternative right now because the Republican Party project today is a fascist authoritarian project.
And what's the Democrat Party? If we think that these Democrats think that the Republicans are fascists, then what's Democrats? Democrats are the one saying that we're not going to listen to the Supreme Court in their rulings. We're going to just roll out our own laws. Who's the fascist? Let me ask that question.
Fact is, Republicans in Congress are still in the grip of the ultra-MAGA agenda.
Ultra-MAGA. Ultra-super-MAGA potato head. Got fired from CNN. Like, you're stupid.
Party of dupes, party of knuckleheads, party of weirdos.
Party of knuckleheads. So, okay, ultra MAGA, party of knuckleheads. And what's the Joe Biden administration now?
Party of free.
So, if they're gonna call us the party of knuckleheads in ultra MAGA, then what are we gonna call the Democrat Party? The party of the circling? The party of we don't have an answer for you right now. We'll come back to you. We'll circle back to that. We'll circle back to your name at a later date.
So that is a simple message. And underneath that, it's the party of nothing.
It's the party of knuckleheads. It's the party of nothing. It's ultra MAGA. You're stupid.
Has become an authoritarian embracing cult.
Ultra MAGA fascist cult.
It is fascist.
We take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic.
And did you? Let's ask Nancy Pelosi. Did you defend the United States when it came to foreign or domestic violence? During the summer of 2020, did you defend America domestically? No, you did not. You stood by as people burned our cities to the ground. You stood by when China was trying to invade Taiwan, where we, as America, depend on their chips to make cars, from cars to phones. You stood by and you went to Taiwan and you got the highest Medal of Honor. And the next day, you said that you agree that Taiwan is part of China. You were awarded the highest Medal of Honor, of civilian honor, and you just slapped Taiwan in the face. That is a domestic terrorism. If you want to say domestic terrorism, that's domestic terrorism against Taiwan. That's disgusting and that's despicable that you would ever do that.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue with their allies in the Congress of the United States.
Okay, you're as old as dirt. Nobody cares about you. Okay, next. Inflation nation. Recession to last for years in the United Kingdom and the UK, warns Goldman Sachs. So, the looming recession set to bedfold the United Kingdom by the winter will last until at least 2024. We already knew this. Okay, we already knew this. Go to the grocery store. You're going to see everything's more money. Inflation's rising. We're trying to cut back on inflation, right? But they're not putting inflation. They're not putting the they're not putting the percentage that you have to pay on loans. They're not putting it high enough. They need to put it up by 1%. They're only putting it by 0.25%. That's not going to combat inflation high enough. It's like you're going full speed ahead into a brick wall, and you're just applying the brakes slowly. You need to full send on the brake, put the pedal to the metal on the brake, and stop the inflation before it gets worse. Next. Europe's winter of chaos. Russia cuts gas supply to France as PM warns of future energy rationing. So we already knew that this was happening. We already knew that this was happening when it came down to the actual winter, right? If Russia cut off Europe's supply on gas, Europe gets their gas from Russia, and Europe decided to go against Russia, right? What do you think's going to happen? Obviously, they're going to cut off their gas. They need to find an alternative way to get gas, and that's the same thing America has to do. They can't rely on anybody. So, exclusive. Citizens from Sanity releases advertisement blasting woke racism. So, white silence equals violence. That's stupid. That's just dumb. Citizens for Sanity released a radio advertisement blasting the left's woke racism in America's schools, corporations, and public life.
President John F. Kennedy told us that citizens should be able to enjoy the privileges of being an American without regard to race or color. But today, the radical woke left is injecting racism, bigotry, and discrimination throughout American life. A major airline now recruits pilots based on skin color, not flying ability.
Okay, so this is actually the right side, right? Why would American Airlines, why would any airline only employ people based off of color? That's blatantly discrimination based off of skin color, which the left says that they don't want to see, but then they'll go and accept it when it happens, when it's in their benefit. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. American Express is currently facing a lawsuit from a former employee who alleges the financial company unambiguously signaled to white employees that their race was an impediment to getting ahead at the company. I don't think that this holds any water at all. The statement from this person, from this lawsuit, from a former employee, I don't think that this holds any water at all. Because if you say something to anybody now, they can take that as sexual harassment. They can take that as anything that they want. Next. High school principal's son, a track coach, charged with sexually abusing a student. That's disgusting. Last Friday, a Wharf, Maryland high school principal's son, the volunteer track coach, was charged for sexually abusing a student. So the principal's son was abusing a student. This is how little respect that these public schools have for their students. The principal's son. That's disgusting. According to the Charles County Sheriff's Office, the alleged abuse occurred to a former Westlake High School student where the accused 32-year-old Jason Roberts became coaching in the 2017 to 2018 school year. His mother, Dane Roberts, had been the principal of Westlake High School since 2018. According to the LinkedIn, Roberts attends North Carolina Central University Law School, where he's the vice president of the Christian Legal Society. Wait a second. So the vice president of a Christian legal society is the coach that sexually abused a student? That's just disgusting. Why are you vice president of a Christian legal society? And he also served as a youth leader with Victory Christian Ministries International for 13 years. That's how little respect he has for God. That's disgusting. This high school principal's son, Charles County Sheriff, said that his name is Jason Roberts. You need to go to hell. You're going to hell anyway. I'll see you in hell. New developments in case of OnlyFans model charged with murdering boyfriend. And she doesn't even look that sad. A 26-year-old OnlyFans model and social media influencer charged with murdering her boyfriend has been denied bond, according to court records. I would deny her food. Courtney Clenny, known online as Courtney Taylor, was arrested and charged this month with second-degree murder of a 27-year-old Christian Toby Opsali, the model's boyfriend. Abonsi was found stabbed to death inside a luxury condo in Miami on April 3rd. Arguing before Judge Jacqueline Woodwand in Miami courtroom on Saturday morning, Clenny attorney Frank Pardo said that there's not enough evidence for the client to be hit with a murder charge and asked for Clenny to be released on bail pending trial, Fox News reported. At best, it's manslaughter, Pardo told Judge Woodward. Miss Cheney, your attorneys are here, and they're fighting hard for you. But at this time, it's not really the judge who should be making these decisions, the judge said in the courtroom. It should be a judge who knows a little bit more about your case. Following the incident, the model's legal team has claimed Clenny was acting in self-defense and choked on the right. Albany died. Albany attacked her boyfriend and choked her that evening. Courtney had no choice but to meet force with force. Okay, so Clenny was reported heard on 911 call from the night of incident saying, I'm so sorry, baby, while Albany said he felt like he was dying and was losing feeling in his arms. I'm completely shocked, especially since we were cooperating with the investigation and offered to voluntarily surrender her if she wanted. Pardo told Miami Harland following her client's arrest. We look forward to clearing her name in court. Albany's family says Clenny was not acting in self-defense, denying any allegation that the 27-year-old was violent with his girlfriend of 2 years. We had no cause to believe that this was the case in self-defense, said Karen Albany's cousin. Toby was raised by a very strong family with strong morals, strong values, and does not come from that. He does not come from that. Laurie Handfield, a lawyer representing the Albany's family, has claimed the delay in Clenny's arrest is about race. Oh my God, here we go. This is dumb. You're claiming that this is about race? You stabbed your boyfriend and killed him. It's about race? Oh my God. Cry me a river. It's about race. You're white. You're stupid. The King of Pop had over a dozen alliances, used them to get drugs, report. Ooh, boy. So, leader singer Michael Jackson had over a dozen alliances and he used them to get drugs, according to a documentary from TMZ that is scheduled to air early September. And it said Michael Jackson was a drug addict.
Michael Jackson never mentioned a single doctor to me who was treating him with opioids, propofol, or any of those substances. Michael Jackson was a drug addict, and he was a master at manipulation because I was manipulated by Michael. I did not enable him at any time in his addiction. I would never do that. I cared about Michael too much. I loved Michael. I haven't lost that love for Michael, despite the pain and suffering that I've encountered.
Okay, so who really killed Michael Jackson? That's actually very interesting, right? A lot of people don't know what actually killed Michael Jackson or not, right? People say that it was because he overdosed while he was sleeping, but I would have to disagree and say that I don't think it was because of the fact that he was sleeping. I think that it was because of an actual drug problem that he had. But with that being said, let's go on to the fourth segment, which is the drama of the week segment.
I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it. Fuse like a magnet, lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket.
So heading straight to the drama section, we have some screenshots from Twitter that was happening during the weekend. So without further ado, let's dig right in. So starting with this first tweet right here, this was from Dash Door, whatever the hell, it doesn't even matter. So this is what he said. Wow, Trump just, quote, demanded to have a, quote, new election and accused the FBI of, quote, cheating in 2020. Trump is actively attempting to defraud the United States government and is deliberately inciting violence against the federal institutions. Shut Truth Social down and indict him on his crimes now. Period. So, let's dig right in. So, first of all, Trump demanded to have a new election. Listen, this is not new. He's been doing this. And it doesn't really matter if you believe in the election fraud in 2020 or you don't believe in the election fraud in 2020. This is what happened. The FBI covered up stories that may or may not have changed the results of the election. Now, you can interpret this as election fraud, okay, on major platforms, but did anybody sit here with ballots and shred them up? No. If there was evidence of this, they would go to the Supreme Court and prove it. They went to the Supreme Court, and it was he said, she said, and it was this, and it was that. But there was no actual, this is concrete evidence. Because if there was, the Supreme Court, especially justices that got elected by Trump, would have stayed with Trump and would have agreed with Trump. That's just my reason. That's my rhyme. Okay, that's exactly why. I think that it was very manipulated, the 2020 election. But I don't believe that somebody was standing here and shredding the ballots. I really don't believe that. But he did say on Truth Social, because he was very, very upset when Mark Zuckerberg, the actual CEO of Facebook, came out and said the FBI requested that they did not share information regarding the Hunter Biden laptop story. Now, everybody in America was very disappointed that they were not allowed to talk about or share anything that revolved around the Hunter Biden story on Twitter. That was Jackoff Dorsey. That was just on Twitter. But on Facebook, they said that, oh, we're gonna let you share it. We're just gonna blacklist whatever you just said. So it won't get any shares and it won't get any likes. So they were doing it, but secretly, which I would rather somebody come out and say, this is our policies, this is what we're gonna do to you if you say something we don't agree with. I would rather that happen. So somebody responded to that tweet and they said, this is terrifying. I live near a lot of Trump supporters and I am now voting by mail for the first time. I'm afraid that they will start shooting people to stop them from voting against Trump. We don't say anything that points them our way. This is making it worse. Please indict him now. Okay, are you living in the same reality as me? Because I think you're living in like this made up unicorn type world. Because since when did this ever happen? Since when did Trump supporters go out and actually try to shoot anybody for voting a certain way? It never happened. It never happened that way. I just don't understand what these people are getting it from. It just doesn't make any sense at all. Let's dig into the rest, because I have a lot of tweets over here. Okay. Now, this other person said something else. Let me start at the beginning, though. Is it this? No. Okay, it's this. Okay, so update. I just found a few... Okay, so this person, I don't know why I didn't get the beginning of the tweet, but this person found out that Trump is behind in his payments for Truth Social. Now, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if this is false. But this person believes that to be true because she found it on Twitter. So she wants to rack up the bill for Truth Social, and she wants to actually make Truth Social pay more money. So what she actually did was she wanted to post a couple hours of this random video, so they have to pay more data fees. Now, Truth Social does not really care at this point. They just have outstanding bills, apparently, allegedly. I don't really know if this is true or not. But I just responded to this Karen and said, there you go, Karen. Go get the orange man. He's bad. Go get the orange man. That's what I said. Boom. There you go, Karen. And then this other person tweeted, voting for Republicans is like being your own worst enemy. Higher taxes for you, lower taxes for the 1%. That's absolutely not true. Less rights for you, more rights for the wealthy. How? Doesn't really make a lot of sense. Best healthcare for you, for them, worse healthcare for you. How is the billionaires that get their healthcare not covered by the states, like Obamacare, all these other things, how is it better for them when they need to pay? It doesn't really make much sense. And to reproductive freedom. Reproductive freedom. You mean killing a baby that you consensually had sex to having? That's not a bad thing. Bedroom policy and bodily autonomy. So bedroom policy. So let me get this straight. And I don't really know all these, like, bedroom policy. What the hell is that? Bedroom policy. Is that you referring to what you do in your room is what you do in your room? Okay, so can we just not talk about it? If it's your privacy, then stop talking about it. If you want to go have sex with a lot of people, don't say it in a song like WAP. We don't want to hear it. Next, this other person said, Trump's business graveyard. So he supposedly got together all of these Trump companies that failed or didn't. So Trump Ice, Go Trump, which doesn't make any sense, Trump Plaza, Trump Vodka, Trump Airlines, Trump Castle, Trump Steaks, Trump Network, Trump Generals, Trump Casinos, and then coming soon, Truth Social. Now, I don't think anybody's taking any advice from you, especially when this is your profile picture. Like, come on. COVID is over. COVID is fully over. Stop that. Next, we have over here, voting for Republican is like voting for fascist Putin and his friend Donald Trump. But see, I just find it funny. Because this never actually happened. And I also find it funny that the left can talk about this, but we can't talk about the fact that Joe Biden is the same exact way, but with China. China's a lot worse than Putin. I mean, not at the moment, obviously. He's invading another country. But he's not Putin's puppet. He actually had respect for Putin, and Putin had respect for him. That's why there was no wars during Trump. Wow, oh my God. He's so bad, but there was 0 wars. It doesn't really make a lot of sense here. Next is this right here. I don't understand in the world of Hispanic people, just me. Especially Cubans are voting for Republicans. You haven't learned anything, have you? What do you mean? What does the Democrats do for Hispanic people? They literally make fun of you. They say that you remind them of breakfast tacos. They don't even know what the heck they're talking about. And they're trying to destroy your language by introducing Latinx. How is that good? They're destroying your language that you've been speaking for such a long time. And they're telling you to speak a total different language. Why would you vote for somebody that's trying to destroy your own nationality? Your own religion, your own language. They're trying to destroy that and reshape it into whatever the hell they want with X's everywhere. Instead of Latina and Latino, it's Latinx. It doesn't make any sense. And this is the last one right here. This is actually a Babylon Bee article. And if you have not heard already, I can explain. Ben Shapiro actually went to a podcaster conference, and he was just standing there. He was saying hi to people. Nothing was actually happening. A video got released. Literally nothing was happening. And the podcast network that was hosting this meet and greet for people actually had to come out and apologize and say, listen, we should have never had Ben Shapiro go there. Oh my God, he was hurting so many people. So the Babylon Bee, in pure Babylon Bee form, actually said thousands dead after Shapiro casually strolls through Whole Foods. Exactly, and that's exactly what they think. They think that just because he's just there, boom, destroyed. Like you're so stupid. I really can't. People are just so stupid. And how is Ben Shapiro causing any harm just by existing? Oh my God, just by existing, you're causing harm. You're causing me stress, and oh my God, I'm gonna have a mental breakdown. Oh my God, my social anxiety. Like, shut up. You're so dumb. I can't anymore. Off to the next segment.
I just wanna be greatness. I just wanna be greatness. I just wanna be greatness.
In this segment, we're going to be talking about the biggest investment news of the week. So, starting with the top story, Tesla actually underwent a 3-for-1 stock split, which means that for every one stock you have, it multiplies by 3. According to this Motley Fool article, let me bring this up for you guys. So according to this Motley Fool article, everything we need to know about the upcoming stock split. So if you don't know already, right, stock split because of what they call inflation. So to get more people actually investing into a stock, what they actually do is split it so more people can afford the shares. But for holders that already have the share, it's just going to multiply. So again, the rich get richer, but that's just because of the fact that we, as people inside of the stock market, we know how to find stocks that are going to be around for the long term. Now, Tesla's not going anywhere, obviously. California just announced that they're going to only have electric car sales from 2035, and Massachusetts also followed suit, or I think Massachusetts did it first, and then California followed suit. But the thing is that right after the stock split, everybody's expecting that it's going to go up and up and up, but this is actually what happens. The stocks that actually undergo a stock split actually go up before the stock split, so more people are buying it before, and then right after, it tanks a little bit. So this is exactly what we can see here. As soon as the stock split, you can see the stock split occurred, I think on October 21st or something like that, and it was a high, and then boom, it went down 65 to 70%. So, and that's they say that it's going to be corrected within 24 hours. But the thing is, people don't care. People really don't care if it's going to be corrected in 24 hours. They don't really care the fact that it's going to be better over time. They don't care, okay? They just see it now. And see, if you look at this price over here, Tesla is at the $275.61 right now. If you look all the way in 2018, Tesla was $20 per share. That's ridiculous. $20 per share for Tesla in 2018. And then it went up to 100, and then 200, and 300, and 400, and you could just see here, 98, 100, like, it's just crazy. But the thing is that, yeah, that $20, that $17, it's split by 8 at the same exact time. Because of the first time that Tesla did a stock split, it was $16.15, but they did a 5-for-1 stock split. So we times that by 5, and then we times that by 3 again. So in July 30th, 2019, Tesla shares was $242.25. That's looking at the share price of $16.15. Because if it underwent 8 times a 5-for-1 stock split, and then that 5-for-1 stock split again 3 times. That's crazy. So, for example, and they're going to break this down. I mean, I already did, but it's okay. For example, if you own 20 shares of Tesla at $890 per share this past weekend, your shares would be 60 shares of Tesla at $296.67 per share, one third of the previous price. So all it does is times your shares by 3, but it also cuts in one third the amount that each stock is actually worth, if that makes sense to anybody else. But the thing is that Tesla's not the only one making the headlines, it's also T-Mobile. There's actual reports of T-Mobile buying back stocks this fall. Let's head into this article right here that they outline exactly what's happening with T-Mobile. Let me see here. Oh, right here. Okay, so according to Barron's, T-Mobile could announce a massive stock buyback this fall. So T-Mobile is falling 1%. It's not that bad. But the United States business and stock are on a roll this year, and its recent Barron's pick. The next possible catalyst for the stock could come this fall in the form of a massive share buyback program announcement. In a report published on Tuesday night, Morgan Stanley's Simon Flannery laid out the case for T-Mobile to reveal a board-approved stock repurchase program that could retire some 2/3 of the telecom company's freely trading shares in the coming years. T-Mobile's free cash flow is set to rise significantly in the coming years as costs related to its integration of Sprint fade into the rearview mirror, and the company continues to win subscribers and grow its revenue per year. So this is the thing with T-Mobile, right? They acquire a new company, and then they make that company charge their existing customers more money, so T-Mobile makes more money. This is exactly what happened with Metro PCS. This is exactly what happened with them. Metro PCS was actually very, very less. It was nice and affordable for everybody. As soon as T-Mobile bought it, boom, they increased the prices by $10 to $15. The same exact thing with Sprint. Everybody had Sprint. As soon as T-Mobile forcibly bought Sprint increased their prices because T-Mobile wants more money. And as soon as T-Mobile bought both of these companies, T-Mobile charged their own customers more money. So it's not like, yes, okay, they're making more money year over year, but they're also charging people more year over year. And the fact that they're even relying and they're even trying to roll out 5G when 4G isn't even ready. Like their 4G system isn't even ready to give everybody service. So why are you sitting here saying, oh, well, we should roll out 5G? Why? No, you're not even 4G ready. Like, what are you talking about? It doesn't even make any sense at all. But T-Mobile and Tesla is not the only one on the grand scheme of things on the investment news. We also have Starbucks. Starbucks is always the woke corporation that I look at. But some leftists don't think that they're woke enough. I guess Starbucks isn't woke enough because they're being sued for diversity purposes. This is weird. So Starbucks executive directors are being sued over diversity policies. Let's find out what they're being sued for. So Starbucks Corporation executives and directions has been sued by a conservative think tank that believes the coffee chain's efforts to promote diversity amount to racial discrimination. I agree. Immediately, I agree. Conservative, racial discrimination, I agree. Boom. Okay. In a complaint filed on Tuesday, the National Center of Public Policy Research objected to Starbucks setting hiring goals for blacks and other people of color, awarding contracts to diverse suppliers and advertisers, and trying to exclusive pay to diversity. So the plaintiff, a Starbucks shareholder, said the policies require the company to make race-based decisions that benefit minorities and violate federal and state civil rights laws. Let's dig in. So, this is the exact thing that we as conservative has been saying for years. If you base your hiring policies off of only the skin pigment and the skin color of people, then you're discriminating against another form of people, or you're discriminating for those groups of people that you're hiring. So all of these people that are saying, oh, there's racial discrimination, this is the clear-cut case of racial discrimination. People are saying, well, I don't want to be hired based off of my skin color. Okay, but why are you going to enable these companies into hiring you just because of your skin color? Wouldn't you want to be hired because of your ability to do the job good, not just because you fit a certain social class? Like, it does not make any sense at all. Nobody would just want to work for someone just because, oh, you fit some check boxes, so they can just start saying that they're racial diverse, and they can start saying that they're putting their knees down to the left. I wouldn't want to work for a company that does that. I would not want to work for a company that blatantly tells everybody that I'm the only reason why I'm here is so I can check mark some boxes. If you hire people based off of their skill, and then it just so happens that you have a diverse team, good for you. Wow. You check marked some boxes. But when you start hiring people just so you could make those check boxes, but you don't hire people based off of the skill and their ability to do the job, then that means that you do not have a good team that you put forth to the job, and they are not going to be able to do the job well at all. So it's just basic common sense. I mean, I don't know why people don't understand this. I just don't know why. But see, Starbucks, Tesla, and T-Mobile aren't the only ones that are making the headlines with some confusing stuff, right? Burger King is also in the news. Wow, okay, Burger King. What is the king himself saying? Well, the king himself unleashed the vegan sandwich, which we all know, the vegan Whopper. Okay, it's kind of disgusting. It's not as healthy as a regular Whopper, but Burger King is trying to make another vegan alternative to meat. But McDonald's, out of all people, suspended their vegan patty because nobody bought it, and they admitted this. You know what they called it? The McPlant. That's disgusting. I would never eat the McPlant. Okay, nobody should eat the McPlant, and that's exactly why nobody actually did eat the McPlant. They discontinued it. Okay, so where is this article that I wanted to read? I have a voice crack. Okay, so Burger King. Let's read this article right here. Burger King puts a bold idea on the menu. This is August 30th, 2022. The home of the Whopper has a big idea that some people will love and others will find, just plain odd. While some fast food chains lean into the rapid growing demand for alternative meats and other plant-based foods, others are digging their heels into their tradition and their image as a meat eater's paradise. It technically is. Burger King is a substantially larger restaurant. And let me restart. Burger King, they don't know how to type. This doesn't even make any sense. They've taken an alternate route with a deeper. Why do they say stuff like this? It doesn't really make any sense. Okay, anyways, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this article because they don't know how to type, I guess. But a meat-free burger pop up in Costa Rica. So listen, we already had this in America, right? Costa Rica, welcome to the party. With an exception of Australia, those locations were temporarily pop-up, meant as experiments to test the country's demand for a wider meat-free rollout. And now, the Whopper maker has its sights on Central American country. So on August 8th, Burger King will open a 100% plant-based pop-up called Burger King San Pedro in Costa Rica, capital San Jose. The temporary store will serve vegetarian options already available at the regular Burger King stores, such as the Veggie Nuggets and the Veggie Whopper and the King Veggie Sandwich. This location will be meat-free, but vegetarian rather than 100% vegan. The decision to bring such a pop-up in San Jose Burger King said is in a press release, came from a strong performance of plant-based products at Burger King restaurants in the area. So this is the thing. Costa Rica is one of the best performing plant-based markets in LAC, which is Latin America and the Caribbean, for Burger King, based on sales of the Veggie Whopper at the company's retail locations. So, as in other countries, the pop-up will be available for a temporary period of time and serve as a test run for what can potentially be a permanent-based Burger King. We recognize the changing needs of our guests and our planet. Our goal is to offer the widest possible variety of numerous meats in meals to the largest possible demographic intersection. So, then the article gets into, is the future plant-based? No, it's not. Unless you can create something that tastes exactly like the real thing, it's not. I am lactose intolerant. I need to have dairy-free alternatives when I have stuff. Almond milk is not an alternative to dairy at all. You cannot do the same exact stuff, and it does not taste the exact same. When you're trying to make mashed potatoes and you put almond milk in there, it just does not taste the same. It's not as creamy. It's not as good. It just sucks, okay? Also with the dairy-free ice cream, also with vegetarian meat or vegan meat, it does not taste the same as the real thing. If you can make it taste the exact same, I'm fully on board and say, okay, let's do this. But Impossible Burger does not taste like the real thing. Beyond Meat does not taste like the real thing. It tastes disgusting. So if we can get these things into a level that it tastes the exact same, then we can start talking. But until then, we cannot say that it's the future if it does not taste like the real thing and it does not offer the high quality protein and the high quality everything else as the real stuff actually does. But I digress. We should get into the last topic of this podcast.
I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past.
Okay, so before we break for the week, I wanted to just talk about one last article, and that is actually California telling people not to use so much electric because the grid can't keep up. Now, this really doesn't make much sense because of the fact that they're the ones saying to switch to electric vehicles. So why would they tell us to switch to electric vehicles if the grid can't keep up with it? According to USA Today, California hopes to avoid blackouts amid heat wave by asking millions of people to use less electric. But don't they want to switch to EVs only by the year 2035? It doesn't really make sense on why they're telling us to switch to EVs when the grid can't keep up with it. So they're telling us that California officials say that it's going to be tough to meet the unusually high demand for electricity during the heat wave. So if it's unusually high electric usage, why would you tell us to use electric vehicles? That doesn't really make much sense at all. This literally always happens every single summer. Every single summer, the same exact thing happens, that the grid gets overworked because so many people are using the ACs, and they actually have to shut off people's power because of the fact that they have droughts, and then wildfires start with people that are not responsible with their cigarette, and then just throw it in the middle of the forest in the middle of a drought, and that causes a wildfire, and that spreads throughout the whole entire forest, burning the whole thing down. Now, they want to avoid this. That's why they're telling us to use less electric in California. Now, they're saying that rolling blackouts don't appear imminent yet. But now when people start charging their Teslas, that's kind of imminent, okay? And the USA Today actually admits, why is this happening? Is green energy to blame? Well, let's see. The looming potential of blackouts comes when officials fear demand for electricity will exceed the state's ability to supply it. Governor Newsom said in a press conference on Wednesday, demand is high, he said, with more Californians tuning up their air conditioner and in the swelling temperatures. Doing so strains the electric grid, which supplies power. Because the heat wave is impacting the entire western United States, energy resources are stretched thin across the state lines. Plus, severe and prolonged drought across the region has reduced California's ability to generate hydroelectric power, Newsom said. So hydroelectric power is not reliable. That's what I'm hearing. Solar panels are not reliable in California, I'm assuming, Governor Newsom. And what? Wind turbines, because of the fact that we have a drought, is not reliable, Governor Newsom. So all of these green energy deals that you're creating and spending the taxpayer money in California with, right, are not actually helping to cause the problem that we have among us. But we want to solve a problem that's going to happen 10 to 20, maybe even 200 years in the future. But we have a problem now. Doesn't really make much sense. But the state is working to offset the problem with solutions like using batteries to store power, which isn't as reliable as what you say, and also at the same exact time is not even as efficient as creating energy the moment we make it. So, and states not aggressively pursuing green energy has also struggled in the recent years to meet power demands in extreme weather. Now, I find this very, very hard to believe, but they quote Texas. They quote this Texas storm that they had a couple years ago. Now, I actually covered this, and if you did want to know why the Texas actually lost power, I talked about it a couple years ago, but this was actually because of green energy deals Texas was doing. So it's like you can't win. They say this isn't because of the green energy usage, but it is because of green energy because Texas actually lowered their ability to produce so much so much natural energy through coal burning and processes like that, so much that during the winter they could not provide enough electric. And I actually covered this. But, of course, USA Today says Texas winter storm could make life worse for Black and Latino families hit hard by outages. Oh my God, wait a second. Oh, USA Today, you did not. So white people don't deal with power outages. USA Today. USA freaking tomorrow. Okay, I'm done. Okay. I think this is a good note to end today's episode. But I do really enjoy this show, obviously. You could tell this show is actually 2 hours long. But thank you all for watching. Thank you all for enjoying. And if you did, please leave a like down below and subscribe for weekly episodes. And if you don't mind, leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever else you get your podcasts from. Now, I would like to read out some disclaimers from the podcast. I am not a financial advisor, and I am not ever saying that I actually am a financial advisor. So if I ever did offer some financial advice, I never claimed to be a financial advisor. Also, if you do want to check out any other content that Arujo Studios and myself has, you can check out Arujo Studios on YouTube, Arujo Studios on Instagram, Arujo Demetrius on Instagram, Life Happens on Instagram, or DemetriusArujo.com to view all content relating to me. Thank you all for watching, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day. And goodbye. I will see you guys next week. Hey, before you go, don't forget to check out all my other content that I don't only have on this channel, but all of my other channels that I have. I do have a cooking channel where I make weekly videos that I make pancakes and cupcakes and all different things like that. I also have a podcast channel where it is not political at all, and I just talk about my daily life. That's available on all the popular streaming platforms. And finally, we have this show, and we have a new show coming soon, which I will be announcing in the next couple weeks. If you did like this video, please subscribe down below for weekly content and like this video so I know that you like videos like this. Thank you all, and have a great one.